Yeah, I'm back. Well, like I said, Sally goes on to explain basically that she did try Ida, that even, whether or not Breezy is a criminal kingpin, queenpin, or legitimate businesswoman, Sally goes on to point out that, hey, I did try to buy the emerald off her, but Breezy would not concede. She would not sell. And then again, here's where the adventures part comes in. You have Sonic basically pointing out some recent factors. Her hiring the Chaotix to find an emerald, her paying off Breezy, and he's like, Sal, is your dad cool with you using the kingdom's treasury to bankroll us? In other words, he's like, Sally, in other words, it's like somebody asking you, hey, are you sure your father's cool with you just writing out checks or offering money here and there for certain things? And then the flash, the flashback here is what really gets me. I love this because you have Sally in the flashback basically kind of doing like a innocent little schoolgirl look or whatever it is, an innocent little mischief. I don't know what to call it. I mean, she just gives that look like you can't. She gives that you can't say no to this look, face look. Because in the flashback she says, "It's all for a very good cause." I love this. I just love it. I really do. And she points out, and I love the expression here. It kind of shows you they're a little mischiefy. They can be mischiefy. Don't worry about it. They're not bad or anything. They can be mischiefy. She does point out that her dad is pragmatic, whatever that means, and that anyway, the tournament starts tomorrow, and she wishes team fighters good luck. So next up, we get a flashback. We get a panel with Eggman basically. So the next page, we have Eggman basically threatening Breezy that he'll blow up this, he'll blow up that, blah 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 blah. You have Coconuts telling Breezy that Eggman's on the line for her, and that Scratch also needs her to look into something. She thanks Coconuts. She's like, "Thank you, Coconuts," and bring the limo around. And yeah, so she basically talks to the doctor, and he's like basically telling her he was threatening her if she didn't give him the emerald or blah blah blah. And she basically tells the doctor, hey, you'll do jack crap. You'll do jack crap because first of all, your forces are spread global thin, containing the crisis, and that anything he would scrape together couldn't make it past their defenses. So in other words, let's say he was to send another uh, let's see another horde boss or whatever you want to call it, Badnik horde boss, that it wouldn't even make it past those defenses. Basically, she's pointing out to Eggman, look, you don't have anything to back up your claim to threaten me or do anything about it. And she points out that he like her loves. And she basically points out that he's like her. He loves his creations, and he hates to see robot on robot violence. Now Eggman points out that, hey, you want to talk about that? Give me the now he basically now Eggman point okay she points that out, and Eggman's like, oh, you want to talk about robots? You don't give me the emerald, and I won't offload. And he basically tries to offer. I guess he tries to bargain with something with her. He says, oh, you want to talk robots? Give me the emerald, or I won't offload any more old Badnik stock on you. So basically he's saying, hey, you give me the emerald, or I won't give you any more of the leftovers I have. And she's like, look, I rescued those poor robots. You'd lose out more on your most lucrative exports. Now again, now Eggman does exactly what Sally does. He tries to buy it from her, and she just laughs it off like, hey, look, you don't even have enough. And she basically tells him, look, you don't have enough. Uh, says something in French to him, and she points out that the world is in ruins, and that with the world in the shape that it's in, people will give, people will do anything to get have some kind of distraction from the crisis that the world's in, and that they, pay out of the nose to get that distraction, and that distraction will be coming in the show of in the tournament show, if you will. She points out that he can't harm her, or threaten her, that she's learned, or even buy her, that he's learned a lot from her, and that she has long since graduated from his hard knocks school of hard knocks. Eggman, of course, is furious that she's talking to him like this, and we do get Scratch and Grounder finally. So they point out. So basically, Scratch points out that someone had messed with the system and replaced one fighter with another, and Breezy's like, okay, fine. So if you found it, change it. And Scratch is like, I think you might want to look at it first. So she takes a look at it, and instead of having Scratch change it, she's like, oh, forget that, never mind. This will be much better. And then of course she gets back on the phone with Eggman, asking if you're still there, and he says, "Command the Eggman Empire. Any an imp, you can." And he says, and she basically hangs up on him, saying she has work to do. And beep, and you have Coconuts basically turning off the phone for her. Beep. Uh, so this is what I'm telling you. In the first part, I've never laughed so hard. So basically, you have Eggman finally contacting his Plan A or his Plan B, which is the Hooligans, his hired help in Knack being in Bark. So basically, he tells them that Breezy expects her to play by her. Breezy expects him to play by her rules. But that she's forgotten he runs the show. Oh, and that he tells, in addition to Knack being in Bark being in the tournament, he tells them, hey, disable Casino Park's defenses. That he wants them to disable the defenses. Now, Knack's like, okay, fine, no problem. Thanks for the vote of confidence. And that getting the emerald is the free gig, but if he wants him to do this other job that's going to cost him, Eggman, of course, agrees to it. And then we get him contacting Metal Sonic, who has cornered somebody, some kind of an old philosopher or something like that. Some kind of old philosopher or something like that, who swears he doesn't know what Metal wants, that he's just an old man. And of course they're interrupted by Eggman calling Metal Sonic, and Metal Sonic's trying to tell him that he's found a target of interest concerning the Gaia temples, and Eggman's like, hey, never mind that. I'm sending you coordinates to get over to the casino zone on the double, whatever. So Metal Sonic leaves the old man, and you have the old man basically saying something that I think might be contained in future issues, might be referenced in future issues, saying that this is a problem and that he must break tradition and warn the others. Now again, this is from just a one-shot character as of right now that still connects the whole Gaia Temple situation. So anyway, we finally get to Casino Park. We get back to Casino Park. We get Sonic and Breezy greeting each other and kind of seeing how each other are doing, and kind of complimenting how well each other have done, blah. And you still have Amy being a bit jealous, of course, and Tails being a little bit suspicious. So, of course, I'm just trying to remember, looking here, trying to remember. But basically, you have them being very suspicious, and Amy again still being jealous and all that, and like not being very trustworthy. Breezy assures them that hey, they'll have access to all the facilities, unlimited trips to the buffet, and so on, and blah blah blah. And that there's a stack of chips waiting for each of you at the counter on the house. But she does kind of point out there are a few rules. And the few rules that she points out are once things get started, there's to be no fighting outside of the ring, save for the cameras, no helping friends in the ring, and to show up on time for your matches. And Sonic's like, okay, fine, but I got one rule of my own. And that is you don't schedule me at night. And you basically have Breezy being like, oh, but you're prime time. You've got to be at night. And then you have Sonic kind of bargaining with her a little bit like, oh, I guess then I'm out. So my friends will back me up on that. So bye-bye. So basically with Sonic saying, okay, fine, you don't want to agree to that, then I'm out and my friends will take care of things in my place. And then you have Breezy. Basically, he just flips the. Basically he plays Breezy at her own game and basically gets Breezy to agree to do the daytime portion for his matches. And Sonic's like, "Hey, pleasure doing business with you as always." Like, and you have Sonic going like, "Hey, pleasure doing business with you as always." But then you have Breezy kind of being like, hey, don't forget, if you try to beat the house beats you back. So, it might be interesting to learn what goes into that. Hold on. So, you have them talking a little bit, and you have Tails pointing out, man, if her looks could kill, and you have Sonic saying like you basically have them talking, snickering a little bit, like Tails is like, man, if looks could kill, and Sonic's like, man, I'd feel bad, basically being saying seriously, I'd feel bad if she weren't profiting from a world catastrophe. In other words, he's saying, man, I feel bad for what I did just now, but if she wasn't, trying to get money off of this, but hey, whatever. And then he goes on to thank Amy for making sure Breezy didn't put a knife in his back. And when they try to find Amy, Amy is like, oh my god. Because look who shows up. That's right. Honey the cat shows up. And bam, it's instant friendship right off the bat. Sort of interesting friendship, if you will. Right off the bat, because here Amy just runs up to her and she's like, oh my god, it's you, it's Honey the cat, founder and CEO of Honey Brand Clothing and Accessories. So now you see why Honey's been brought in. So now we find out why Honey's been brought in, how Ian's incorporating Honey into the storyline. Excuse me, I'm going to go into another part here.